Good morning, everyone. It's 5 minutes after the hour. It's Thursday, April 11th, 2019, 33 degrees outside. Nothing wants to work. Shaman Tobin on the line with me. He's working, though.
You bet.
He's here.
I'm wound up like a clock.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Well,
no one winds clocks up anymore, so it's an old expression.
yeah, I know. So, well, I don't know what to tell you about that. But anyway, we're glad you guys are here. And again, nothing's working right. I think we are streaming. The Wi-Fi in here is not working correctly, so we're flying by the seat of our pants here, I think. So other than that, we're doing fine. So I don't know. We at least can do the weather. We can do that part. So I'm excited that we have weather out there, and we had snow today, so we had all kinds of snow coming down on the way in this morning. So that was kind of a nice deal for April, I guess. The roads are clear, and whatever. So I guess that's as good as we're going to get. So
yeah,
that's kind of where we are. So
that works. Okay, we're good to go.
Okay. Well, 40 degrees is our high today, 25 the overnight low. We've got showers during the day, about a 50% chance all day long. Might have some snow overnight, but no appreciable accumulation predicted. 41 will be the high on Friday, 23 the overnight low, and less than an inch on Friday as well. Saturday, 49 degrees, mostly sunny, so that'll get rid of whatever we got now, 34 the overnight low. And then on Sunday, 45, and we'll have some afternoon showers that might turn into snow into Monday, but overnight lows will be 27 on Sunday and 25 on Monday. So just a few snow showers in the offering, but again, not any measurement listed, so shouldn't be too bad at all. So. Livingston right now, we're looking at 32 degrees over in Livingston. Manhattan's 32. Three Forks is 33. Gallant Gateway is 31. Ennis is 29. Gardner is 29 degrees. Big Sky is 22. And at the airport in Belgrade, it is 31 degrees right now. And it's 34 degrees at our downtown studios at 8 minutes after the hour. So there you go with some weather.
That's excellent. The weather here couldn't be worse. It's cold, it's rainy, and it's heavy rain. So expect more of what you have, and it's coming hard and fast.
Expect more of the above. Is that what? What you're looking for?
That's right.
All right.
Well, maybe into May.
All right, from our text line, we are streaming, and I guess we're on the phone, so the smartphone. So that's good news this morning. At least something's working right. Let's see.
And it sounds great on the net. I always listen to it on the net.
Okay, well, I don't know. As I said, we don't have any internet in the studio. I'm using my cell phone as a hotspot, so they're going to charge me big bucks for 3 hours of data use. So thanks a lot, Town Square Media.
Yeah, well, back up the truck, Mary.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's take a look at what's going on around the world on this date in history. In 1689, William III and Mary II were crowned as joint sovereigns of Britain, and I'll bet that's where William and Mary College came from.
You're absolutely right. And the amazing thing, he was Dutch, and he was King of England from 1672 till his death in 1702. Mary of England was a rather attractive woman for her time, not overweight. I mean, the pictures that they have of her are incredible. She was Queen of England, Scotland, and Ireland, co-reigned with her husband and first cousin. No wonder they had a problem having that wily king of theirs that went on King George to bother the colonies. King William III and II from 1689 until her death. Both of them were referred, of course, as you said, to as William and Mary. And both were Protestants and became king and queen, reigning for a fair amount of time, actually, when you think back in those days. This is just, what do you say? I mean, it's before, after the big discovery in North America and couple of 100 years or 150 years have passed, and the Spanish are, knocking at the gate and so forth and so on. So there you go. Oh, and of course, we couldn't have a day without something about British people, right?
No, that would be not good.
Yeah.
So, well, now that you fat shamed everyone, talking about her being overweight people aren't unattractive.
I know. Most people you see in older 15, 16, 17, or Rubenesque, right? I mean, that's just, that was the style back there.
Well, it was, they had the food. They didn't have a problem getting the food. That's where they were. That was
but Reuben took liberties at adding weight to women, and that's what he became famous for.
Oh, okay. You think so? Okay. Well,
yes.
All right. Well,
Rubenesque look. Yes.
Well, let's just clear the record and say that overweight women are not unattractive. So there you are.
I didn't say that. I said
you said she was attractive, not overweight.
Well, I'm sorry. I meant to imply, unlike most women of her time, she was very thin.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe that would have been a better way to say it.
Okay. Well, the first thing I said at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Okay. Well, I don't want to start off insulting all of our female listeners out there that might feel they need to lose a couple of pounds.
You're absolutely right. Slap me, hit me, kick me. Go ahead.
Okay, I will.
Just don't yell at me. I'll start crying.
Okay. 1814, Napoleon Bonaparte abdicated as Emperor of France, and he was banished to the island of Elba. He was a very short guy, too. Let's get the short people in there, too. We'll attack them as well.
If you're going to shame someone, don't shame short people.
Right. There you are.
A lot of Hollywood actors are short.
Amen to that. Jeez, Tom Cruise is like, what, 5'7" or something like that? I forget.
Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger is like 5'8".
I don't know. Yeah,
they're so Napoleon, we all know, if you've studied any French history or world history, probably one of the 5 people in the last 2,000 years that has had a major impact on the world, at least Western civilization. He was emperor from 1804 until 1814. Didn't make the French happy that he became emperor, by the way, but he did unite France and Europe. First attempt that someone thought it was right to do, but sort of did it the wrong way, and then made the biggest mistake of all, as we all know, invaded Russia. What is this thing with people in Europe wanting Russia? Like, why? I don't get it.
Well, anyway, you got Siberia. So nice there. They want it they want it for the prisons.
That's right. So he was born in Corsica, which is a small island in the Mediterranean, towards the top of Italy, near the French coast. It's an amazing thing of what he was. He was a military genius. He was an administrative genius, a legislative genius. The guy really, is just one of these guys that stood out in history and made a difference. So there we are.
He was quite a leader back in the day. So yeah, he was right up there with the best of them, I guess. 1898, President William McKinley asked Congress for a declaration of war against Spain. What do we have against Spain, anyway?
Well, we had some issues with them with shipping and different disagreements with them over Hawaii and the Philippines in particular. So it's an interesting thing because, like we talked about the Spanish-Mexican War, or the American-Mexican War, the Spanish-American War is even more interesting in that he had made an actual declaration of war in the House and Senate. The result of it, of course, was the U.S. ended up with the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico, baby. They've kept Guam; it's a territory. Puerto Rico is a territory. They gave the Philippines back to the Filipinos. So there you go. That's pretty cool.
Well, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too bad. So,
yeah.
Well, in 1921, Iowa became the first state to impose a cigarette tax.
Now, how amazing is that, right?
Yeah, 1921. So.
Well, it was the first state tax after the approval of the federal tax. So predicated on the precedent that was setting in that matter, states began to then start doing taxes. That's one of the things that's so unique about your republic is the way it's set up. As we know from talking, originally Woodrow Wilson did the income tax. It was deemed unconstitutional, and so it required a constitutional amendment. And so once that was established, other states started to tax their citizens.
All right. 1945, American soldiers liberated the Buchenwald concentration camp in Germany.
Very, very sad story.
Yeah.
It's one of the war camps that the Germans put together during World War II, and the terrible things they did to the people that were, oh my goodness, left behind is just unbelievable. But they did manage to have most of the people recovered, and the rest we have to sadly say is history.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember reading somewhere that Eisenhower wanted everything filmed. He didn't want the world to the world wouldn't be able to believe what was going on without film or without documentation. So he wanted whoever was following him around, I guess, trying to think of the famous World War II photographer that can't remember his name.
Director. What's his name? The director. I'll think of it. Beard. Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway, doesn't really matter. 1951, President Harry Truman relieved General Douglas MacArthur of his command in the Far East, and a lot of people were upset about that. They thought Doug did a good job.
Well, that's true. He had saved the United States in Asia during World War II, and his military prowess, everybody knows. From being in World War I and walking the dead man's zone like no bullet could hit him.
Yeah,
he was one of the youngest generals in the United States, also one of the first 5-star generals. But what he did in Korea when the Chinese invaded was remarkable. And after driving the Chinese back over the border, he called up Truman and said, "They're coming back if you don't drop a ball." And that didn't go well with Truman. He didn't like that idea. So anyway, he'd come out of setting up Japan as a constitutional monarchy and creating a new constitution for the country of Japan, including, they can have a defense force, but no military, as one example. So, yeah, remarkable man in history. Really did.
Yeah.
For military history. Yeah.
There you go. Hey, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking, of course, about Idi Amin, James Traficant, Mosul, Iran, Ariel Sharon, all the big names we all know and love, right? We'll be right back. 20 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m., it is Thursday, April 11, 2019, 33 degrees outside, and Shane Mataman on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Tom Eaglehoff, your morning mayor in the house, and of course, this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox, and we're happy to have you along with us today, spend some time with us. Right now, we're doing This Day in History, and on this date in 1979, Idi Amin was deposed as president of Uganda as rebels and exiles backed by Tanzanian forces seized control of the capital of Kampala.
Again, one of these stories of a low-grade soldier that ends up taking over his country during a revolution or, a civil war, and creating horrific issues of genocide in his and other countries. Very sad.
Yeah.
Very sad.
2002.
British educated.
Yeah, 2002, U.S. Representative James Traficant, a Democrat of Ohio, was convicted of taking bribes and kickbacks from businessmen and his own staff. And I think probably the thing you might remember about Traficant was, of course, his haircut.
That's right. and one of the first congressmen to, actually be censured and then tried and thrown out of Congress.
And eventually went to jail. Yeah. And, of course, came back and for a while was a pundit on television.
On television,
Of course.
Yeah,
That's why not? That's your reward.
Yeah,
Lori
be
Loughlin.
a bad guy.
Yeah, your days are coming.
Yeah, white privilege. Be a bad guy. End up a newscaster.
That's right. Hey. Well, in 2003, American troops took the northern Iraqi city of Mosul without a fight. So that was a good day for them.
It was indeed. That was pretty much the end of the resistance, as we know, and until the terrorism started, and then of course everything started falling.
Everyone went away. Yeah. 2006, Iran announced that it had enriched uranium on a small scale for the first time. Well, gosh, I wonder where they got it.
Yes, indeed. Well, Pakistan has a lot to do with this, so we can start there first. But the sad thing about it is that the Iranians had been doing this for some time. The U.S. and Israel, of course, both knew about it. And the argument going back and forth for the last 20 years, I guess, about this between Israel and the United States is Israel's always wanted to take it out. And, the Americans have, sort of held them back from doing that.
Yeah.
But with Bibi's win yesterday, baby, that could still happen.
Well, it certainly could. 2006, Israel's cabinet declared Prime Minister Ariel Sharon permanently incapacitated. Wow.
Yeah, man. Another great man.
Permanently incapacitated. That's pretty harsh.
Well, he wouldn't retire as president, which usually happens in a situation like that.
Yeah,
as we all know.
You've been there long enough, and you just don't want to leave, huh? All right. Well, hey, don't we love that? All right, let's see. In 2007, charges were dropped against 3 former Duke University lacrosse players who were falsely accused of rape. So we all remember that. At least that was one of the that was the beginning of the Me Too movement, but they didn't have a Me Too movement yet.
They didn't have the hashtag. Right?
Yeah, right. So when the Me Too movement started, everybody started pointing back to, hey, it's not always. The victim isn't always believable.
Well, that's right.
In every case,
this was sort of the beginning of the real fake news because this was on 24/7 for 2-3 weeks on all the major media. Yeah. They built this up, they ran with it, and then it turned out wrong.
Yeah. Well, and also, too, we've got the conundrum now where obviously Donald Trump picked up saying all kinds of lewd things on ABC Access before the election. Right. And then we've got Uncle Joe Biden sniffing everybody's hair and doing everything here. So I guess and we've had how many women come out talking about his inappropriate hand on the shoulders or nuzzle in the neck or doing something. So I don't know, but
8. We're on 8. Yeah, 8.
Yeah,
8.
So at least 8. So, but one, it's one thing, I guess, to talk about it, and it's another thing to actually have yourself photographed doing it. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I don't know, but anyway. I don't know. I think this is far enough away from the election that I think Joe's going to get in. I think Joe's going to go for it.
Okay.
I think he will. And the reason I think that is that this will be old news by the time the election rolls around. Everybody knows what he is and who he is. And we did the same thing with Trump. There was no. Do you think anybody voted for Trump that didn't know the kind of person he was?
I've said to you, I don't think he'll run. And after what happened yesterday or the last 2 days with your Attorney General, as a witness, I think for sure now he won't run.
You don't think so, huh? Okay.
No.
Well,
all right. In fact, I have new words for the morning crowd. I'm going from either Crazy Gate to Crisis Gate or Panic Gate. Okay.
Well, so, I don't know.
As of yesterday.
Well, birthdays today. Dean Acheson, he was American Secretary of State, 1949 to 1953. Quite a tumultuous time there. End of World War II, the Korean War through there. start of Vietnam, Marshall Plan. A lot going on when he was in there. So let's see. I don't know. I don't see anybody else that's worth our time, Shane.
Not this morning. We got lots to talk about today.
We do have lots to talk about today. So I don't know. So, but at any rate, boy. Well, Barr did drop a bombshell yesterday, I guess, if you want to call it a bombshell. That's what everybody in the news is calling it. So
that's what they're calling it.
I guess it's okay. I will call it that if you will. So,
well, I thought I'd hold up because we're running out of time here.
Well, we are. Yeah, no, we're not going to cover that till later on in the morning.
Later on, yeah. But I just want everyone. I did a deep dive and I read law last night. Oh my God!
Oh my God! You're in trouble. Oh,
privacy and civil federal regulations on privacy and civil liberties. Oh my God!
Oh, that had to put you to sleep.
No, I was quite fascinating.
All right.
Yeah.
From our text line, 478-8298, our own Uncle Joe. How did that work for Russia? I don't know.
Right.
Well,
very good.
What can we tell you there? So
another socialist Joe.
Yeah. Also, we had a texter asking about the Bozeman School District where they could vote on the mascots, and go to bsd7.org, scroll down the page, and you'll find the link there to mascot suggestions, and we'll see how that plays out. Maybe we'll give a couple of them after the break at the bottom of the hour, so we'll see what's over there and kind of check that out and see what their ideas are if they've got any. So I don't know, but anyway, we'll find out what they've decided here, and. Yeah, I'm not sure that. No, I don't think they have a list of them. Well, okay. I know they had some pretty lame ones at one time. But
yeah, that's good. I like that.
All right, we'll be back with more right after this. 25 minutes before the top of the hour, and it is Thursday, April 11th, 2019, 34 degrees outside. Happy to be here with you. Good morning, everyone. Tommy Goloff, your morning mayor in the house, and Shane Taubman, my co-host, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. And, well, the week's winding down, Shane. We got a few things to talk about, I guess, in our, well, the Extreme History Project, kind of interesting this morning, Shane.
Yeah, I brought that up first thing with you. I was really, well, that's interesting.
Yeah. For the folks who give walking tours on Bozeman's colorful history, there might be no more appropriate home base than the city's last best house of ill repute.
There you go. Thank you.
That's where they're moving to. The Extreme History Project is moving into the white stucco house with green shutters at 234 East Mendenhall. That was originally built as a fun house. For adults. Yeah, it's an adult fun house here locally. And Crystal Allegria, that's been on here when I did the morning show before, we're so excited. We're over the moon about being in a historic house downtown. So
that's right. And, before electricity, they put a red candle in the window.
Right.
So there you go.
I'm sure they did. Yeah. Let's see. Here we go. From our text line, 478-8298. I don't know. You know is repeated several dozen times each day on the show by mostly Tom. You're right. I know it's being picky, but it's so continual. Come on. I am trying as hard as I can. I know. I need a couple of extra words to fill in when I don't know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, you haven't entirely decided what.
Yeah, we don't know what words we're going to use in there, so I can't say I don't know, and well, you know what I'm talking about, right? I don't know.
Of course,
you know.
100%. It's the day. It's time of the morning.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that from the listeners because this is tough. It's tough to sit here and talk and not say the words that you're. I don't know. I guess used to using in your own personal life, and so It's tough because I know I use way too much, and I'm trying to watch that, trying to watch trying to watch There You Go, and those common phrases that we seem to use over and over and over, and I understand the listener's frustration because sometimes when I listen to the radio too, I'm looking for, are they saying as much as I do, or are they not saying how come they're not saying every 10 seconds? So
yeah, or go-to words. You hear me, say indeed.
Indeed,
because
yeah.
I just don't want to say
yeah,
or
I know.
Or
a boot.
You try to be
or a boot.
about,
a boot.
A boot. Yeah. You try to discipline yourself. That's the best.
Well, it is, and it's hard because we get to we get involved in the thing that we're talking about, and we don't realize what we're saying, and if we're saying or we're saying there you go, or I don't know, or or whatever. So
and as you rightly corrected me already this morning with my shaming comment, I'm sorry.
well, just know that I am aware of it. I'm not ignoring it, and I am trying.
Yeah.
I am trying to work on that as hard as I can. Somebody suggested that you need to. It'll drive your wife crazy, but you need to go home and just read out loud. Read everything out loud, so that your brain gets used to talking rather than working in my subconscious. And I just said, right there.
I would think that would depend on the magazine you're reading.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, the righteous Eagle Man does a 99% job, so give him a break on 1%, folks.
There you go. And from the same text line, that's why I'm not an announcer. Cuss words. Yeah, I'm very good about watching. Even in my personal life, I've when I started going on the radio, I eliminated swearing because I don't want it to be just pop out there. Mm-hmm. And I think only once or twice it might have. But I'm afraid it would pop out there and I wouldn't realize it, and I couldn't hit the dump button in time. So.
Well, that's right. Like, I was taught you have to listen to your brain before putting your mouth into gear.
Well, that's one of my problems. I talk while the brain, before the brain starts working.
Yeah,
I'm a little behind. I'm like an echo. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you're on the air. What's up?
Morning, Tom and Jane.
Hey.
Several politicians used to have things that would cover themselves like that. One used to say, let me say this about that.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking of his
answer.
answer.
Oh, that was good, yeah.
Another one would say, let me be perfectly clear about this.
Mm-hmm.
To your texter, I would say, let's be thankful that Tom and Jane don't use the term whatnot.
Or whatever, or basically.
Well, you used whatever just a little while ago.
Well, that's true. I did. Yeah, you're right.
Anyway,
have you noticed in the last year, because we talked about this about a year ago about people on network television saying a lot, and then I took notice in the last year how that now they all use the word so. They do. Mm-hmm. It's so amazing. They'll be in the middle of a sentence and they'll go, so, it's like to have signs up. Do not say
Yeah,
so.
That's probably what I need. I need signs all over my my equipment here that says, "Don't say don't say don't say I don't know, don't say whatever."
What do you say at this time in the morning, good sir?
Say again.
I said, what do you say at this time in the morning, good sir?
I say whatever.
Okay, well, there you are.
Whatever.
Hey, talk to you guys.
I like it. All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Let's see. From our text line, 478-8298. I'm sure all the people who don't think the public deserves to see the Mueller report felt the same way about the Ken Starr report. And that's probably true, I would say.
No, but the reason it's true is because they didn't release it. And it's great because they have video of Jerry Nadler, now the House Judiciary Committee chairman, who's, screaming, yelling, pounding his gavel. Give it to us, give it. They've got video of him because he's been in office for like 30-some years. I mean, he's been around for a long time. Anyway, the point is 1992. The point is that when the Starr report came out, he wanted it sealed. He did not want it released to the public.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Wow. how the shoe fits differently, doesn't it?
Right.
It's amazing.
Well, the thing that I've noticed, Shane, and maybe you have too, is that everybody is going after Barr, as you know.
Well, of course,
the media and everybody else. Okay.
He's now the flavor of the news cycle, right?
Well, yeah. But they're not going after the other Republican. And I'm curious as to why. Why are they not going after Mueller or Mueller? Mueller didn't do his job. Mueller dropped the ball. Mueller couldn't find couldn't find his hat with both hands.
Because they spent 2 years telling everyone he's the gold standard.
Well, that's the whole point. Yeah, and why would we even need to see this if he's the gold standard? I mean, you can look at this guy's history all the way back to grade school, I think, and the guy was top in high school. He was number one in his class, and wherever he went, he was in the military. Got medals in the military for bravery and exceeding his what he had to do, and all these other things are going on. But I don't see anybody, not a single Democrat or Republican for that matter, going after him as this report won't be accurate. This report will, whatever. I just said,
Well, that'll be the flavor next week when Barr releases it. Then the focus and the spotlight will go on Mueller, and you will hear these comments because, of all the things that were said in the previous 2 days by your Attorney General that I heard was the most important to me.
Yeah.
Because I'd like us to talk about this a little bit because I think it's going to, this is history. I mean, in the making every day.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
The one comment he made, I believe it was the first day of his hearing. He said, "Well, we knew it was coming," and he said to in response to a congressman, he said, "Well, we knew it was coming with this report." In effect, when he took office on the 13th of February as Attorney General, he's in charge.
Right.
He didn't recuse himself. So that means he gets to go look at everything that's going on with the Mueller report and everything they're doing, what they've done, what they've got, where they're at. So he already had a pretty good idea where they were. And when this happened, back 3-4 weeks ago, and he came in, I talked about this, and we took the position that he basically looked at all this and said, "Okay, you're done. Come on, wrap this up. Give me a report. I want it in a month." And that's what happened. And and it's a tight situation for him. Because he's got the Deputy Attorney General, Rosenstein, who's in serious trouble. The guy is. So we'll talk about more of this later.
Yeah. From our text line, the President of the United States uses the word "like" often, a Valley Girl speak.
Oh, gee.
So there we are. And also from our text line, 478-8298, they're going after Barr because he's in a position to expose Beltway shenanigans. Ooh, There you go. So, yeah, if they can discredit him, then whatever he brings to the table would be discredited too, I would guess. And
and
they're not going to be able to do that with Mueller. And I'm wondering how. I think they're going to call him in, don't you, for a little get together and I wonder how many softball questions they're going to throw at him.
Yeah. Well, here's the, Tom, you and I talk about this because we watch this stuff. And our favorite congresswoman from California, Los Angeles.
Yeah, Maxine
Waters. Her first committee hearing in charge of banking. And she has every major banker there in the United States, all 8 of them. And she's questioning them about loans for student loans, and asking him what are you doing to lend money to students? And she goes down the line, and they all tell her, well, we stopped lending him money out in 1992 and blah blah blah. And then she comes to Diamond and she asks him, what about you, Mr. Diamond? And he said, well, we quit lending money when the U.S. government took over the money, took over lending the money in 19. She didn't even know it.
I know, yeah. Well, you would think her staff would give her questions, based on that. But all right, we got to take another quick break. We'll be back right after these important words, so stay tuned. It is 9 minutes before the top of the hour, and it's Thursday, April 11, 2019, 33 degrees outside. Shane McDonald on the line with me from Vancouver, and Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox. And, getting back to news, locally at least, we're happy for the Extreme History Project that found a nice home. And Bernard Construction here, Shane, they got a $187 million border wall contract. So what does that tell you? Let me turn you up. Sorry, I had you turned down. Go ahead. Okay. I'm sorry.
I just said I think that's fantastic, and I hope you know him.
Well, sort of.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, we used to, the company I used to work for, I did business with them, did quite a bit of business with them. So I don't know that I ever got to the corner office or not, but at any rate, U.S. Department of Defense announced this week that a Bozeman construction company was awarded $187 million for a border wall construction project. Barnard was awarded the contract to replace vehicle fencing with pedestrian fencing along the U.S.-Mexico border near Yuma. And so the wall will be 11 miles long, heights 18 to 30 feet. And according to a news release by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the wall will have thick posts or slabs with openings too small for a person to get through. So
there you go. It's being built then. Who's doing it? Our man, the Army Corps of Engineers. Let us try.
Well, I guess they're going to be under Barnhart's direction. I don't know. So, or, who knows?
Okay.
We went a little long on the first segment, so we got to take another break. We'll be right back. It is 4 minutes before the top of the hour. It is Thursday, April 11, 2019, 33 degrees outside. Shane McDonald on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia, and Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox, and we're happy to have you along with us. And, well, in other news, well, we talked about Barnard getting the big contract there.
Yes, indeed.
And the Senate panel looks like they're okaying backup cash for Romney Hall. So Montana lawmakers are apparently so sick and tired of hearing about Romney Hall, they want to make sure they get to the $25 million for renovations in this legislature, so it doesn't come up again 2 years from now, because I think it's come up like 5 or 6 times in the last sessions, and nothing's been done about it. So the Senate Finance Committee voted 14-5 Wednesday to put $25 million in cash for Romney Hall into House Bill 5, an infrastructure bill that uses state cash and needs only a simple majority to pass. So they think that it probably will. And I think the university has to come up with a little money on their side. Maybe I don't know what is involved in going after their endowment fund or any of that, but anyway, that's what.
Well, we should ask the boys on Monday, because that's what the endowment fund's for. I mean, it's it's to enhance and keep the university vigorous, and it's not meant to be invested. So we should ask the boys about that. There's a debate about the endowment fund covering that.
Right. Yeah. Well, the Montana University, they've been trying since 2010 to get the legislature to put up $30 million. We got 25 at least. So with inflation, that's half what they need, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
this is the 5th session MSU has pitched the project, saying it's crucial to create more classrooms and larger tutoring centers for the record number of new students. So that's... The amendment by Ryan Osmondson of Buffalo, Republican of Buffalo, and his amendment says if the state bonding bill 652 fails to win 2/3 vote necessary to borrow the money, the $25 million cash from the state treasury would go into HB 5 for Romney. So it's still not out of the woods yet, but it looks like it's pretty positive that they're going to try to do something for Romney Hall, and I guess that would be a good thing for us locally. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's amazing all the things that are going on here. The legislature's winding down. We'll have Scott Sales and Steve White in on Monday, and they'll talk about that on Monday. So we'll get a breakdown of what's going on with Medicaid and other stuff as we go through that day. So stay tuned, and over the weekend, big deal. So.
And it's April, so they're only a couple of weeks away from adjourning.
Right. That's right. They're winding down, 2 or 3 weeks left. So we'll get the skinny from them on Monday as to what's going on. So, but we still got a couple hours of KMMS morning soapbox to go. So stick around when we come back. Hey, there's 5 things you need to know, and William Barr is one of them. So we'll be right back after this. 3 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m., it is Thursday, April 11, 2019, 33 degrees outside. Shane Matavin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Tommy Goloff, your morning mayor in the house. And from our text line, Shane, let's pop over there, see what folks are thinking about. Let's see. Good morning. Everyone needs to realize that the Mueller report, AOC, and the rest of this bizarre circus the Dems are running is a total front for the October surprise. Michelle Obama is going to step out of the shadows to save the Democratic Party and run for president. Don't be fooled, people. It's nowhere near over. So there you go. All right. And also, who needs educated economists on the Fed board when we have Trump loyalists to do his bidding? What bankruptcies? Lower those rates. I need to borrow money. All right. So there you are. Borrow to the hilt. All right. 5 things you need to know. Well, the big news, I guess, that came out this morning, Julian Assange was arrested in London, Shane. Ecuador, I guess, got tired of him violating the rules, so they threw him out to the curb. And the bobbies were waiting.
Well, 2 things important here. Number one, he first went in there because he'd had these sexual assault charges in Sweden, which his lawyers dealt with. But number 2, the thing about WikiLeaks, you can't deny, they haven't been wrong about anything they've released. I mean, whatever they put out, right or wrong, they've released it. With regards to Crazygate, the second thing is the U.S. has immediately filed extradition proceedings for him to come to the U.S. Yeah. So this cannot make the Crazygate mantra any less happy, because now they're going to find out, because we know from the investigation that it's likely that he got his information about the DNC emails from the Russians. So this could be interesting. It only just gets interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's quite a big deal because he released a bunch of stuff right before the election, damaging Hillary, talking about Podesta's password being password and whatever, broke into his emails and found a lot of information about that. And there's always been a rumor, but no confirmation, that he has the 33,000 emails that Hillary supposedly deleted. But I don't know. I don't know if wedding plans and recipes are all that important. But why can't we see those? I want to see them.
And we covered this back. It was 2014, right, when I told you about the RCMP making that news release that they had the backdoor key to BlackBerry. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, if anybody's got those 30,000 emails, the RCMP in Canada does.
Okay.
But no one's asked them for them.
Oh, okay. Well, Assange has been living inside the Ecuadorian embassy since 2012, when he sought refuge from extradition to Sweden on sexual charges, as Shane mentioned earlier. And so we'll see. But yeah, he's going to Sweden first, and he may end up in jail there. They might deny the extradition to the United States if they're gonna try him, and if he's found guilty, he'll do time in Sweden. So,
well, and the interesting thing too is that Lenin Moreno is a new president in Ecuador. He just won the election here recently. Mm-hmm. A small country, but Lenin, he's a socialist, right, clearly. And you have to assume that the Ecuadorians, small country, I mean, it doesn't have a large population. It's 16.5 million people, and the GDP is 194 billion. That's not very much, but it's relatively large. But you have to assume that, that the Ecuadorian government was getting a pretty good fee for him to stay. I mean, at least hotel rates, right?
I was going to say, you keep somebody there for 7 or 8 years. That's 3 meals a day and housekeeping and all the other things, TV, internet, all that stuff. So
I would bet he was paying more in the range of more than $1 million a year to say stay safe in the embassy in London. Either the new president wanted more money, or WikiLeaks has run out of money. We'll find out about all.
Yeah. Well, they said that Ecuador got tired of him violating their rules of him being there. So they didn't elaborate on what that meant. So
that's true, because 6 months ago the British government cut off the internet to the embassy.
Yeah, I just said I don't know again.
Well, that's okay, because you're being honest. You don't know.
I don't know.
How many guys doing this job are that honest?
Right, there you are. I just said there you are. Alex, I just said Alex Jones was right from our text line. Stop laughing. He's a smart guy, knows his stuff. Those were crisis actors. And Hillary's emails would prove she spied on people and had them killed. This I can tell you. Ow. Believe me. All right. I will believe you. I guess so. Show me the emails, and we'll check that out. Let's see. Also, what else we got on here? Well, Mnuchin and Maxine Waters went at it the other day. If you want to leave, you may. What does that mean? Does that mean are we done or what?
Yeah.
I said, I'd be packing up my stuff and heading out. What's the problem? If you want to leave, you can. All right. Thank you.
Well, I think he would be under contempt if he got up and walked out. I think that's the whole thing. So
yeah.
But the point is as he said, we'd agreed, and I told you I had this important meeting, and you would allow me to leave by that time. And so, is there something else you want to discuss other than when I'm coming back? Because, I'm coming back, so it's not an issue, right?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where, excuse me, these new chairmen of these new committees are coming in, and you'd think after being in the Congress for 30 years and sitting on the committee, she'd know what's involved in being the chairman. You know what I mean? Like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. From our text line, 478-8298, hey, Tom, let your listeners know that Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk will be speaking at the Campus Clash on Thursday, April 18th. Doors open at 6:30. Speakers start at 7:30. This will be held at the Strand Union Building in the ballroom. Be an interesting and informative event. And I would say, it would be if those two folks are there, because they, if you remember, they were part of the ones who were attacked at restaurants and whatever back when that was going on, that throwing water on them and all of that, yelling stuff at them. Candace is black, Charlie is white, but they do travel together and make the conservative point. So Thursday, April 18th, the doors open at 6:30. Speakers start at 7:30. Campus Clash at the ballroom, Strand Union Building. So show up and see what's going on.
So will there be anti-demonstrations?
Oh, I'm sure there will for them.
Oh, you think? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I would think there would be for them. Yeah. So I don't know. It depends on what the university. I don't know that we're like USC or Burbank or Berkeley or any of those, but it would be interesting to see if the campus police do show up, if there are demonstrators, and how they're controlled.
And I don't think there's probably enough people that might gather for all those out-of-state hustlers to come in and create, issues like they did at the university.
Well, this isn't a major point where anybody wants to come to Bozeman, Montana, and see what's going on here. So
disrupt the speech.
Yeah, right. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Calling you on the air. What's going on?
Hey, guys. This is Aaron. How you doing?
Good.
I just want to let you know that I don't really care if you sound like the hair lip in that commercial or if your commercials are about fake Viagra.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of that. I don't care if you say or whatever. I'm just glad you don't say Chris Griffin in the morning.
Okay.
That was pretty nice, wasn't it?
You guys have call. I'll take that.
All right.
Hey, I don't really think it doesn't bother me ad you have running or how you talk. I'm just glad you guys are there. You guys do a great job. So,
oh, hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, we're trying. No, but the textures and callers are right. We do say too much. We say and we say a lot of redundant words that aren't necessary. And trust me, man, I'm trying to work on it. I really, honestly am. So Shane, he's better at it than I am. But
well, I don't know about that. But the point is we're less boring than having made mistakes.
That's true.
It's nice to know the mistakes we make are in the texture of our language.
Yeah. Nobody's calling up to say, God, you guys are really stupid about these topics you're talking about. You don't know anything. Okay. Well, and there's probably some people that think that, but that's okay. From our text line, if anyone knows the email, it's Israelis, U-200 hacker unit. All right, let's get the Israelis on board here. Let's get them involved in this. That'll work. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we started talking about Mnuchin and I almost said Barbara Waters. Maxine Waters, Barbara Walters.
Barbara
Walters. Yeah, Barbara Wawa. I'm getting her getting these people all confused. But anyway, Mnuchin sent a letter to the House Ways and Means Committee that the department won't meet the deadline for turning over 6 years of Trump's tax returns. And last week, Richard Neal, the Democrat of Massachusetts, the chairman, sent a formal request to the IRS for the returns, setting the deadline of April 10th. He's one of 3 congressional leaders with the authority to request the tax returns of individuals. Mnuchin wrote that he is discussing the request with the Justice Department and feels it raises serious issues concerning the constitutional scope of congressional investigative authority and the legitimacy of the asserted legislative purpose and the constitutional rights of American citizens. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that. I wrote a blog Wednesday. If you want to go over to KMMSAM.com or AM 1450 KMMS on your smartphone and look at it, I wrote it about his tax returns. I just said twice.
Stop it.
I wrote it about Trump's tax returns, and I posted the only tax return of Trump's that is public. So I posted that one. I also posted one for Bernie before he became a millionaire.
Yes.
The one that he had posted earlier. And he just put out some new ones. So maybe we can get those. We'll get those up online if they're public somewhere. So I'm assuming they're going to be public, but anyway.
They will be.
And Elizabeth Warren released hers. So I don't know. All these folks seem to have an awful lot of money for condemning all the millionaires and billionaires out there. But,
Well, the interesting thing, the first real income tax was was initiated by Abraham Lincoln.
No, geez, don't go all the way back there.
What's when it started? The Revenue Act of 1861 to raise money for the Civil War. This is important, though. Then you had the 16th Amendment. Yeah. But then you had the 16th Amendment, which we talked about the other day, approved in 1913. Here's my point.
Okay.
The U.S. government finally put together legislation regarding what we're talking about.
Yeah.
1926. It took them 13 years to put this together.
Yeah.
So what Mnuchin is referencing is that under that law of 1926, there is a requirement that the Treasury Department provide to a member of Congress with a specific request written to him tax information. However, the IRS works for the Treasury Department, number one, and number two, it's a privacy issue, and the request from the House has to be specific under a specific requirement of misdeed. So just asking for someone's tax returns is
as a fishing expedition.
You can't do.
Doesn't work.
That's the point I was trying to make. I'm sorry.
Well, you could have started in 1926.
No, because they wanted everyone to know it took them 13 years to write the law.
Okay. Well, we had to have some income tax for a while to see how these things worked out. Come on, what do you want to do? Write the law the next year?
All right. Okay. All
right.
I won't be so demonstrative.
We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. 20 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It is Thursday, April 11, 2019, 34 degrees outside. Shane Matavin on the line with me, half man, half amazing, in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, and Tom Eagle, your morning mayor in the house. And from our text line, Shane, 478-8298, what do you think are in her emails? That she paid off a porn star, was building a hotel in Moscow, and I can't read the third one because of our morning show.
There you go.
And also from our text line, let Shane run. I love the historical content. So there you are. You are vindicated, pal.
Thank you, listener.
All right. I guess I'll have to let him go. All right. Let's see. We're going back here to the 5 things we need to know. And, well, we've got the Sudan's military reportedly forces out a longtime leader, Omar al-Bashir. And, boy, I don't know about that. What do you think?
Well, it's an amazing country. Remember, this is the
Sudan.
Country of the Sudan and the country of the city of Khartoum that the British wanted to save. Great movie with Charlton Heston, by the way. Anyway, 40 million people in the country. The World Bank says it's the 17th largest growing economy in the world. And, of course, that's because of oil. Why is it oil? Because Canadians found it. And what happened when they found it? Well, this gentleman, he nationalized it and took it away from them.
Yeah.
So their GDP is $197 billion and growing because of their oil wealth. And it's one of these situations, again, where, like Canada, it's a commodities-based country because of the desert, right? And so now they have this oil wealth to build the country with, and he's basically been stealing all the money. So,
yeah.
of course they're going to replace him. Why shouldn't they?
Right. So, yeah, well, when you steal the money, I don't know, the people get a little upset about that, I guess.
They do, eventually, right?
Well, except here in the United States, we don't care.
Yeah. Or Canada. Outrage. Yeah.
You go into Congress as a bartender, you come out as a millionaire. We'll be interested to see AOC's tax returns when she decides to leave Congress in 30 years or so.
Yeah. Well, as you've heard me say many times before, when you live in a parliamentary government, we have a majority prime minister who's basically a dictator. He's a democratic dictator.
Yeah.
Well, he's in deep trouble. We've been talking about it briefly, but they're talking about not arresting him. And,
really?
And boy, is he? Oh yeah, he's made a mess of this whole situation and that we talked about before. So things in Canada are bubbling, folks. It's going to get interesting. Well, here to talk about in the next coming weeks.
Yeah. I hate to encourage you to run on, but for the benefit of the listeners that don't know what's going on with the Prime Minister in Canada, is there 1 or 2 charges you can enlighten us with that are worth jail time or him being arrested for?
Well, yeah. He basically interfered with an investigation, so obstruction of justice. And then he wrongful dismissal because he fired the woman involved, which was our attorney general. He fired her, and then he made her solicitor general, and she still carried on with what she was pursuing. And then he fired her from that. Made her head minister of Indian Affairs because she happens to be Indian, from Vancouver Island, and she resigned from that post because of what's gone on. So yeah, it's turning into a real nightmare for him.
Wow. Well, we'll
see. Especially because she taped their conversations.
Oh, that's gotta hurt. That just hurts.
Well, it's not illegal. It's not illegal.
Well, it would be here. You have to let somebody know you're taping them, don't you? I think, or it can't be used in court unless the other party is aware they're being taped.
No. Wide open here.
Wide open there, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
So everything that you and I have taped while we've been on the air can be used against me in court in Canada.
Not you. It can be used against me.
Oh, okay.
So I don't worry about and a. I worry about I have to be real careful about hate speech.
Well, that's right. No, somebody got arrested the other day for saying something about someone you were talking about.
A gentleman. I'd have to look up his name. I don't remember, but he's a Christian writer, and he has a website and. A man who claims himself to be a woman but hasn't gone through the transition he referred to him as male.
Oh.
So now he's been sued for $55,000 because he's misappropriated this individual's right, not necessarily to be a male.
Well, the only downside, I guess, to that, or the only upside to that, I guess, is he's being sued with Canadian money, which is worth 30% less than ours. So should have sued him here. Should have sued him here.
Tom, you're wonderful. The righteous eagle man strikes again.
There you go. Well, let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
I didn't know that they called them Indians in Canada. I thought they called them First Nation.
First Nation, yeah, First Nation or First.
I apologize.
Don't apologize. Okay. They're Indians.
So there are 3 requirements for president. You have to be 14 years a resident, and a natural-born citizen, and 35 years old.
Yes,
that's it. You can't require tax returns without an amendment to the Constitution or changing one of the amendments.
Yeah, I would.
Amending the existing law, yeah.
Well, one of the things there is precedent. Yeah, well, there is precedent that they have released tax returns, not publicly and not to all of Congress, but to certain individual members who have a right to see certain documents that other members of Congress are not permitted to see. Now, whether that's in the Constitution or not, I don't know, but it's in the law.
There's nothing about the income tax that's in the Constitution.
No, there isn't, yeah.
No currency shall be
rights
made,
there
but
is now.
No money shall be made but gold and silver.
Yeah.
Everything's been illegal since the Federal Reserve.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for the call. All right, we're getting down to the bottom of the hour here. Once again, Brexit, they're going to give her to Halloween to get out of Dodge. I don't know, man. This thing, has to guess it wouldn't leave. These things just keep
exactly. Good way of putting it.
These things just keep going and keep going and keep going. We want to get out of here, but we can't find a way to do it. What's the problem?
Yeah.
Either you want out or you don't.
Yeah.
So anyway, Theresa May is, if she's even around, Theresa May has accepted an offer from the European Union leaders to extend Brexit until October 31st. And the European Council President Donald Tusk announced late Wednesday this means additional 6 months for the UK to find the best possible solution. So, well, they haven't found it in the first 6 months. I'm not sure how they're going to find it in the second 6 months.
A bad analogy, but you can assume all these ministers in the EU are praying that the British people are going to demand another vote.
Well, they probably are. Yeah, wondering, this just isn't worth it, guys. We don't know what's going on here, and well, I don't know what's going to happen. Well, thankfully for Britain, they were smart enough to keep their sovereign currency. They didn't go with the euro, because that would make it even more complicated if they had to go back to the pound and pound sterling and all the other. So that's one roadblock out of the way, I guess. So.
Well, and my call is if this happens, I think others will leave, and I think within 5 years it'll break up. So that's my.
Okay. Well, without them, only Germany and France is propping it up. So.
That's right.
That's pretty well done. So, all right, we got to duck out of here, pay some bills. It is the bottom of the hour. It is Thursday, April 11th, 2019. KMMS, Morning Soapbox on the air with Tom and Shane. And when we come back, hey, more of the 5 things you need to know and other stuff. I mean, we got a lot of it.
Oh, yeah.
We're full of it. We'll be right back. 25 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday, April 11, 2019, 34 degrees outside. Shane Mataman on the line with me. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. And, well, we're doing the 5 things you need to know. Let's see from our text line, 478-8298, Brexit, 50 ways to leave your lover. I like that. And the Trump Foundation was forced to close for corruption. However, I'm sure there's nothing politically damaging in his tax returns. Well, it depends on which tax return do you want to see.
Well, that's right. I mean, are you talking personal or are you talking corporate? And the entire issue, which is a fair one, is for all Americans to consider, is privacy issues. How much information do you think your federal government can release of your private information? Which, when you figure about the IRS and your tax filings every year, that's a huge amount of information.
It is a huge amount. It is a huge amount of information. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, also, too, as I mentioned earlier, Trump has to release all of his forms of income. So I would guess Trump University's probably on there somewhere, maybe, unless it was disbanded before he became president. I don't.
Which it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
4 years ago. Yeah.
But and I guess I'm not sure why they want 6 years of tax returns. The guy's been in office 2 years, 3 years, almost 3 years. What's the deal? Why 6 years?
Dude, I don't remember Bernie releasing his tax returns when he ran for president 4 years or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Did he?
Yeah.
No. I was amazed to see that Warren's family income for last year was $850,000. Wow. Yeah, I mean, how do these people stand up and make all these comments about free enterprise and everything, and they're going to change the government and change the tax? And they're making that kind of money. It's just, it's staggering to me. Wow. Well, I mean, they don't admit part of the 1%, but their speech should be, I'm part of the 1% and I'm prepared to pay more taxes.
But
none of them say that.
Yeah. But do you know where the money came from?
Probably your husband.
No, it came from her book.
Oh, she wrote a book, did she? I didn't know that.
Well, let me tell you about her book.
Oh, okay. Please do. I'm very curious.
It's an Indian cookbook, and
that's right.
And the title of the book is called Pow Wow Chow.
That's right. Now that you mention it, it's so good of you to remind me. Well, there you go. And it made her a millionaire. Now, isn't that wonderful?
Well, whatever, I guess. Go over to Amazon. You can get Pow Wow Chow, a collection of recipes from families of the 5 civilized tribes: Cherokee, Chippewa, and all of that right over there. And so there you are. So you can get the Pow Wow Chow cookbook over there. So that's.
Well, I want to get to the National Choir, but everyone should know about that today because that's so funny.
Okay, let's go.
I want to hear you say this word. I don't know if you can.
Okay. Oh, you mean about the Inquirer being up for sale?
No, the owner that or the fellow that runs it.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, Pecker.
David. Yeah. Oh, you can't say it. Okay.
Yeah, David Pecker. Yeah. I just have to say it in the right context. That's not one of the 8 words. It's not one of the 8 words.
Oh, I thought it was.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
good on the righteous eagle man strikes again.
I can talk about a chicken being a great pecker. I can, whatever. But the guy, they're looking to sell 3 of the tabloids, National Enquirer and what's the other one? The Globe and the Enquirer or the
National Examiner.
National Examiner. That's right. Yeah, I forgot.
And who's selling it?
Bezos selling it. Well,
yeah, because it's owned by the Washington Post Corporation. And, of course, it was the Enquirer that outed Bezos in his affair and cost him $35 billion. No wonder he wants to sell the Enquirer.
Is this a great country or what?
I love it, baby. I love this story today. I thought everybody in their cars or at home would be laughing on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
What goes around comes around, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, exactly.
I think I'll buy the Washington Post. What else comes with it? Well, you get you get this little deal over here that makes a couple of bucks. So.
And Bezos goes, wow, I'll be able to offer that at Amazon because it's in every store in America. Not anymore.
There you are. What could be better than that, huh?
Yeah, that's funny to me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, it's funny to everybody, I guess.
It is. It really is. Anyway, that was 5.
There you go. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. Getting out of whack here because I got to play my music through the computer too, and I'm not used to doing that.
That's
so
great.
Doing everything
Oh,
here.
and props up to you. The Righteous Eagle Man's music's back. I've been missing it. It's excellent. I love it, baby.
Yeah,
I
me
sit
too.
here and floss.
Yeah.
I sit and floss.
Yeah.
Just get exercise, right?
Well, I figured out a jury rig for it, so that'll work out.
You're the best.
Yeah.
Use that.
Yeah. I looked up Powwow Chow on Amazon. It doesn't say Elizabeth wrote it, so I don't want to put out bad information here, but that was a rumor that was going around that was the name of her book. Now, it may have been a joke, and, so I don't want to put out bad information here about Elizabeth Warren. So, go look for yourself on Amazon and see what you think. So.
I'm sure someone in the Valley bought the book, so let us know.
Yeah, let us know. All right. Let's take a phone call, and we got to take a break. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hey, this is the Vanilla Liberal. What's going on, fella?
Hey, Vanilla.
Hey, did you catch Maxine Waters, Auntie Maxine, yesterday?
Yeah.
In all her pearls of wisdom in front of the bankers in Congress, she had all the 3 or 4 big head honcho banksters up there, and she's drilling them about college loans and how it's out of control. And she goes, "What are you going to do about it?" She points to each individual one, and each one of them goes, "Well, Obama took that over in 2009, so I don't know what you're talking about." I mean, that
was pretty funny.
Day.
Yeah. She's going to be all over her staff for that.
Right.
I wouldn't want to be one of her staffers. You let me go in there and ask that question?
She's about 5 beers short of a 6-pack, that one.
That's for sure.
I bet she walked into her office, took her wig off, and threw it across the room.
She probably shamed a whole bunch of people and then decided to pay the women less,
there
just like all the Democrats.
Yeah, you're getting a cut and pay, honey.
All right,
man. Thanks a lot.
I'm still laughing about it.
Love humor in the morning.
Yeah. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. 13 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Thursday, April 11, 2019, 35 degrees outside. Shane Matauban on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. And, some other things that happened that we need to talk about. Pence unloading at the UN, Shane.
Yes, he did indeed, against our favorite country, Venezuela.
Yeah, dumped on them, said the ambassador should be ashamed of himself, should resign and go home and never come back. They shouldn't even have one in the UN. They shouldn't even have representation here with their president down there, so...
Yeah, Maduro should tell your president Maduro he should resign and save his country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, vice presidents have always been known as this. They're the junkyard dog for the president. They go out and make comments and deal with things. And, of course, they go to funerals. That's their other big job. Yeah. But the most important job for the vice president is he's the president of the Senate. And for me, I've never understood this in all my life, but I've understood all these things and read about. Why doesn't the vice president go sit in the Senate and do his job? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've often wondered that too. He only shows up when there's a possible tie, a break. But yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, Pence said, with all due respect, Mr. Ambassador, you shouldn't be here. You should return to Venezuela and tell Nicolas Maduro that his time is up. It's time for him to go. And now it's time for the United Nations to act and for the world to stand with the people of Venezuela as they march for freedom. And there you are. I don't know how you can get more accurate than that. So
That's
from our text line, 478-8298, I think Warren contributed a recipe to the Powwow Chow cookbook. So maybe that's where it came from. So, and also from our text line, Trump's fake charity foundation was forced to close for corruption. So there were several that probably met that demise, I think.
Well, I think if we looked it up, memory serves me, he settled with everybody, and he settled the case.
Yeah.
And so he paid most people back their tuition money, I believe.
At least on
I
that.
could be wrong.
On that part, I don't know what reimbursement was made, but I know he didn't face any charges for whatever. So, but yeah.
But a number of people from the school took him to court, and he settled with them, and it was the right thing to do. And he tends to try and do the right thing.
Yeah,
people may not think so, but he does.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. The university is a little suspect. Some of the other things I don't mind, the Trump steak and the Trump wine, and those are things that everybody does. I mean, how many actors put their name on perfumes all over the world?
Oh God, yeah, exactly.
Well, as he said when he was touring Mount Vernon, should have named Mount Vernon for himself.
Yeah, that's right.
He says, if you don't get your name out there, people forget who you are.
Well, all you have to do is look at Mar-a-Lago, and I'm sure he'll, make, the home of a great president great again. So I'm happy for that.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, we got to take another quick break. We'll be right back after these important words, so stay tuned. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And from our text line, Shane, let's see, we've got fake university, fake foundation, fake hair. I'm sure his taxes aren't politically damaging. Well, if the ABC Access tape isn't damaging enough, I don't think there's going to be anything in his tax returns.
I don't think so either. I don't.
Again, you got to understand when we're talking about taxes. The fake university, the fake foundation, the fake hair won't be. The fake hair is probably in his personal tax return, but the other two are going to be separate tax returns because he probably he should have anyway file corporations for those two entities, because otherwise he leaves himself open to his personal assets being at risk.
Yeah, so, and the tease for the next hour is the big word of the day, predicate, which your Attorney General used yesterday in his hearings. And so this is all about our listeners' privacy rights.
That's right.
So, I did a deep dive, ready to go into it, and hopefully get 3 minutes to spur out what I learned.
All right.
And give you an understanding of exactly what he meant. Because, boy, we're watching history in the making. This is better than Watergate.
It will be better. At least I think so, anyway. Also from our text line, 478-8298, those fools requesting Trump's tax returns have proven time after time that they are completely inept when it comes to basic math. So just what do they hope to find? I would be amazed if they could even read a return. And I was going to say, that's what I wrote in my blog on Wednesday. What's the deal with Trump's tax return? So if you want to go over to KMMSAM.com and read it, unless you're going to request each tax return from one of the 404 sources of income and go through all those, and I would guess they're probably 2 or 3 feet high by the time you get everything in there.
The only department in the United States that has more regulations now than Obamacare, which is over 20,000, is the IRS. And they have over 40,000 regulations.
I know, yeah.
Good luck on that.
Nobody knows them all. Every year, some radio station or TV station goes to 20 tax attorneys, gives them the returns, and they get 20 different things back. Different refunds. Some have to pay. Offers of advice because they're not liable. There you are. All right, let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the air. What's going on?
Yeah, let's look at this as like cellophane tape, to use a proper word. I don't want to say Scotch tape, because we'll let the demon crappers use that, because they got too much Scotch going on in their political circles. A drinkable Scotch, that is. But so it's a real pain if you ever lose the edge of cellophane tape. But you peel off just one little corner, you got all these little tiny peels, and pretty soon you got a pretty good strand going, and you're able to unroll the rest of the roll. That's kind of what's going on with the Trump administration, in my opinion, right now, because it's getting to the point where they're starting to get a good hold And if they keep their cards right and keep Barr around and nobody kills them or nothing goofy goes on, a lot of this stuff's going to unravel. And then you can use actually cellophane tape to patch up anything that you've had problem with and be transparent at that too.
All right.
So that's just my analogy of it.
All right. Good one. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
All right. All right. We got to go. We'll be back for another full hour, so don't go anywhere. We come back. Shane's going to talk about what this day in history means, and we're talking about today, not years past. So where are we going, Shane? We'll find out when we come back. Shane will give us all the insight, and we'll see if you agree or not. Open lines for the next hour. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255, or our text line, 478-8298, and we'll be back with more right after this. 3 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock, it's Thursday, April 11th, 2019, 35 degrees outside. Shane Matavin on the line. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor, and welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox. We've got a caller waiting, Shane, so let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Good morning, boys.
Hey.
Good morning.
So, the Powwow Cookbook. Yeah. So maybe Elizabeth didn't write it herself. What the heck, But I think I remember seeing it. I think she contributed something to it. Like, I think it was the Pocahontas pot roast.
Well, somebody thought there was a recipe or something that she may have contributed. Yeah, it was called Powwow Chow. This is the name of the book. So,
yeah, the Pocahontas pot roast. Don't you know?
Could be. Well, good for her. Sounds good to me.
That's very good. I like that.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it very much. Yeah. All right, Shane. You're off. You're off the bit and free to run.
Here I go. All right, folks. Bear with me. This is my 3-minute rant on privacy law and why it's important to you. So, yesterday during the hearing, your Attorney General said that he believed there was spying done. Questioned about what he meant by that, he said, well, I have to deal with the predicate of the law, and I want to look into this, how this started, where this came from. So, first, the legal term for predicate: ascribe, assume, attribute, avow, cite, claim, contend, declare, express, maintain, pose it, postulate, propound, state, suppose, and surmise. That's important because I went to the Justice Information Sharing website under the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, Bureau of Justice Assistance. Boy, this is good. Okay, so under the heading of Privacy and Civil Liberties, you'll find federal regulations on privacy and civil liberties and the information sharing environment. The Criminal Justice Information System is based on regulations in 3 sections. We only will care about, for today's talk, Subpart A, general provisions related to purpose and authority and providing pertinent definitions. Now, this falls under U.S. Law 21. And interestingly enough, the Criminal Intelligence Systems Operating Policy, which I can read, but I'm not going to go that far, has specific standards that they follow: the de facto national standard, scope of regulation, criminal intelligence defined, reasonable suspicion standard, and several others. We stop at reasonable suspicion standard. This is important, and this is why. Subsection 2320 states that a system shall only collect information on an individual if there is reasonable suspicion that the individual is involved in criminal conduct or activity and information is relevant to that criminal conduct or activity. Finally, 23.2 indicates that reasonable suspicion, quote, and in parentheses, sometimes referred to as a criminal predicate, is present when information establishes sufficient facts to give a trained lawyer, enforcement, or criminal investigation agency officer, investigator, or employee a basis to believe that there is a reasonable possibility that an individual or organization is involved in a definable criminal activity or enterprise. There it is, folks. This is why in the next 2 weeks, with the Mueller report coming out and your Attorney General looking at all of this, he has to look at the criminal predicate of it and whether or not it was reasonably assessed for them to proceed with spying on your president. Yeah. And there you go.
Mm-hmm. And I would think the tax returns would fall under that same guideline as well.
Yeah. You know? Precisely, which is why I wanted to bring that up earlier when we were talking about the taxes, because this does cover that. And under other protection of this act for your privacy, there's lots of clarifications going back to 1998 and so on. Interesting reading, but when you go deeper into it, it gets real boring. But the bottom line is this about your privacy, not your president's, and he's trying to protect your privacy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's.
So call about this. I'm waiting for the phones to light up.
Well, I think you covered it. What they got to say? You're wrong. I don't know.
Now, the thing that we saw happen yesterday that's going to come about in the next several weeks is shiftism. Mm-hmm. You remember McCarthyism back in the 40s and 50s with the Senator McCarthy, and how he carried a briefcase around Washington and said, in this briefcase, I have the names of Soviet spies in the U.S. government.
Right.
And ended up being a real disaster. Well, now we have Schiffism, and that's Shifty Schiff, a congressman from California, who still believes, that obstruction. But now it's Shiftism is happening in front of a microphone. And he's telling everyone that he obstructed justice and there was collusion. And my question is, if he's got information to prove it, why doesn't Mueller have it?
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. And that's what I was mentioning earlier, that nobody, and I mean nobody, is going after Mueller at all for this thing. That they,
oh, God.
I mean, his reputation, and everybody accepted that going in, and anybody who disputes it coming out is, going to be a lone voice, I'm afraid.
Well, that's correct. And the other important thing that came out of the hearing yesterday is he said that this investigative general report about the FISA court will be out May, June. And as we laughed yesterday about it, I said, this is great for the debates.
Well,
so
we'll see.
If what we've come to understand happened, and you and I have talked about this because we've gone over the FISA warrants that have been issued in its history. It's like 99.8% of them have been granted, right?
Right. Yeah. There's and nobody justifies why they did it or anything like that. There's no record of these. They pretty much they're guys in a little shack out back of the Capitol, I guess. They just kind of sit in there. No one knows who they are or what they do. So
that's right. I
don't know.
FISA stands for Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court of the U.S.
Yeah.
It was enacted under after 9/11. And my expectation is, as a result of these things happening, I would think it's going to be disbanded within the next 6 months. Whoa, we'll have to ask our
I don't know about
legal eagle tomorrow. I know, but I'm making that. Hey, I'm trying to go viral, Tom. Help me out here.
Well, you got to go viral with something that's truthful or something that will actually happen.
I think it'll be so bad what the FISA court allowed. Because they went back to the FISA court 4 times on.
I know they did, yeah. But I don't think that's going to be a. Well, you can. First place, the FISA judges aren't confirmed by anybody. They don't go before the Senate, and get confirmed like a regular judge does. So they may modify it, but I think you'd have a better chance of getting rid of the Patriot Act than you would FISA courts, because we still got terrorism out there.
Yeah,
I mean, we do. I don't want to rain on your parade, but
Well, they'll okay, fine. Then they'll tie it down, but it's got to be changed. You're right. It's been around since October 1978.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a great 3 weeks, Tommy, baby.
It will. It will be a great 3 weeks. Yeah, I can't wait for the things to be started here. So, and Monday we've got Bernie Sanders on Fox, of all places, with Brett Baer and Martha McCallum. So that should be kind of interesting. From our text line, 478-8298, when the IRS does an audit, they look at everything before they sign off on the return. And I think that's right. Yeah, you got to bring all your receipts in and account for everything. It's pretty good. And an audit can always be appealed, which takes even more time. So you can do that as well, so yeah.
That's right.
So, but you're right. Yeah, I've been audited, I think, 3 times since I moved here, and all in the first, I think, 5 years or something like that. Seemed like I was.
They get you?
One time I had to pay, I think, $65. The other time they owed me, and the other time was a wash. The return was right, I guess. So I don't know. Anyway, didn't hurt me.
Amazing.
But that was right before the time everybody started going after the IRS for overstepping their bounds and everything. I think that's why they finally left me alone. One of the reasons they audited me was back in those days when you had a home-based business, that was a red flag, that you couldn't, that was always a red flag for people. And so even though I had a day job, I was still had the home-based business of the books and website and all that stuff. So.
And usually in that case, what they want to audit are your expenses that you're writing off.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, that's what they're looking at. And my CPA went with me, and it explained everything and what I did and whatever. And it was it didn't take that long because I didn't have a lot of expenses, and there was a lot of expenses I think that I should have been able to deduct. When I go speak somewhere, I should be able to deduct my suits, but I can't because they have to be a uniform. They have to be a uniform.
In Canada, you used to be able to deduct your dry cleaning, but now you can't.
Oh yeah, I can't deduct that. Can't I don't know. Can't deduct much of anything.
No,
that's my problem.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's got that problem.
Are these all the deductions you have? Yeah, because I can't deduct anything.
That's right.
All right, hey, let's take a break here. We're a little early on the break, but let's since we didn't do it on Tuesday, let's do some robocalls.
Oh, please.
When we come back.
Right.
We'll see what's going on with the robo folks right after this. 18 minutes after the hour, it's Thursday, April 11, 2019, 34 degrees outside. Shane Dobbin on the line for me from Vancouver, British Columbia, and Tom Eaglehoff, your morning mayor in the house. And let me see if I can play this. Call. Let me get rid of the music here first. I got to do that. Okay, there we go. I think that's gone. All right. Let's see if we can play this soundbite that I got the other day.
Received a legal petition notice against their name for tax violation and willful fraud. Before this matter goes to federal court or before you get arrested, we want you to call us back on 310-807-9231. Do not disregard this message and do return a call as soon as possible. Thank you.
All right, so there we are. What do you think, Shane?
Sounds pretty threatening to me.
Before I get arrested, no less.
Yes, I know.
And this robocall came to our text line.
Oh my gosh!
And we got 2 or 3 of these from the text line. But anyway, let's. I was waiting till 8 o'clock to make sure that they're open across the country.
Yes.
I doubt the thing is real, but let's see if we can call somebody here. Well, maybe not. None of my phone buttons want to work. Maybe I have to call them manually.
Oh, by cell phone.
Yeah. Well, not by cell phone, but I mean, I call them manually on our phone here in the studio. Well, that's going to work. Yeah, 1-310-807.
Now we have, folks, we have the guidelines.
Shush.
Okay.
See? You got to be quiet. All right, 1-310-807. 9231.
The number is not in service.
Okay. The number is not in service.
Interesting.
So they must have gone. I should have gotten to them quicker. Well, I'll tell you, if anybody out there has got a robo number that they've asked you to call them back, that they move pretty quickly, I would imagine. Let me see.
Or not at all. They just might pick a number that's not in service, right?
Well, I don't know about that, but let's see if I can, because I put a couple of them on. Let's see if we can play this.
Your Social Security number is going to be suspended for committing some suspicious and fraudulent activities in the state of Texas. So before we move forward with the legal procedure, contact us as soon as possible on 303-857-5234. I repeat, it's 303-857-5234. Thank you. To inform you that your Social Security...
All right.
Well, we should... Okay, here we go.
Maybe we can try that one.
Right.
Let's see if that one will work. Hang on, and I will try and call that number. Let's see, 1-303-857-5234. It's a busy.
Of course it's busy.
Well, we're not having much luck with our robocalls here. I thought these people would have enough phone lines to handle us.
Exactly.
What's the problem? I guess everybody's calling them in. Well, back to our text line, 478-8298. CPA, certified protesting accountant. That's good to have around during an audit. Yeah, that would be right.
That's right.
I like that one. Yeah. Let's see. Also from our text line, I get a minimum of 3 robocalls a day on my home phone as well as my business per day. 98% of the numbers are disconnected when I call back. So. In some cases, I think they're probably just trying to find out if you got an answerable phone, and I don't know. Does Trump know the difference, or does Shane know the difference between Trump U and his bogus foundation? Trump's character is to rip people off for personal profit.
Wow, that's a harsh statement.
It is harsh, isn't it? Well,
yeah.
Let's see. I can fax you a long list of numbers. I can give you a call from our text line. I would think so. Hey, we should probably talk a little bit about, since we're not doing very good with the robocalls. I'll keep recording the numbers, and we'll see if we can do this again as we go along. But,
okay.
But at any rate. What we should think about, one is, let's take this phone call and then we'll see where we are. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Well, this robocall stuff is kind of funny. I have a friend in Phoenix who owns a phone company. It's a service provider, so he has a lot of extra minutes. When he finds, I've got a group of guys that contact him. When we get a robocall, we send a phone number to him, and he puts in a robocall to them of screaming monkeys.
All right.
So
that's good.
So that wasn't fun enough. I mean, that was okay.
Yeah.
He got it. He got some numbers shut down. But then when he got the I'll be real blunt, the Pakistanis.
Right.
Calling,
yeah.
So he would connect one of them with another one of them.
Oh. Okay.
And he said, boy, if you're listening on their conversations, they are the most foul-mouthed people.
Really?
You should hear what they call each other when they find out who they really are. It's outstanding.
Wow.
I mean, you learn a whole new bunch of swear words in Pakistan.
Okay.
So,
sounds like a deal.
So that's a lot of fun to connect them up to each other. So
I would guess so. Well, our phone line, you know how bad it is. So anyway, we can't do that, but would be fun, I would admit. Hey, thanks for the call. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
Good morning, Tom. This is Steve.
Hey, Steve, how you doing? You getting robocalls too?
Oh, yes, I do. I don't know. I'm up here where I can't hear what you guys are talking about, but I just wanted to call in and see if you paid your income tax.
I did, yeah. I refused to. I always pay. I refuse to give the government a tax or an interest-free loan, so I always pay a little bit.
That's good. That's good of you.
Yeah.
Well, the other day I told you that Red Beckman had the law that never was.
Right.
And
yeah, the book. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
20 years ago, I had a videotape. And I used to show it at the library every year about this time, and it was the IRS investigated, and it was about a guy who found out who finally the IRS was, which is not part of the government, and neither is the Federal Reserve. But the problem is the court system that we have. After, even though people took it to court. And the 16th Amendment was never ratified by a single state. They said it doesn't matter anyway. It's a voluntary tax. So the key is to know how you volunteered. Because if you're not going to pay your income tax, you better know how you volunteered to be a slave. You see, back when the black person was a slave, you had to feed him clothing, housing, take care of his health care, and he wasn't happy because he knew he was a slave. So what they did, they came along in about 1900, somewhere in there, and they said, now we got to get the white folks. So they came up with Social Security. And when you signed your Social Security card, it said, are you a capital U, capital S, small c citizen? Yep, that's me. Well, you just volunteered right there. That's how you volunteered to pay your income tax. And there's the 8 richest families in the world are where the money goes. Not one dime goes to anything in government. And you can check this out very easily by seeing what the interest on the national debt is. And that gets back to another thing. There's what, say, $20 trillion in debt, right, Tom?
That's what they say.
Actually, 22.2 trillion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can go on. Catherine Austin Fitts was the vice president of Goldman Sachs. And she found out that somebody has their fingers in the cookie jar. And you can go listen to this report. She was on Coast to Coast several times. 2 years ago, she was on, and she said that she went through 1 year's budget, and the government just added $5 trillion to debt.
I'm up against the clock at the bottom of the hour, Steve. I might have to let you go, but hey, thanks for the info. I appreciate it. All right. Take care. All right. We got to duck out here, pay a couple bills. I have a clip of Harry Reid, former Senate leader, saying the income tax is voluntary. So we'll play that when I come back, right after this. Hang on. 24 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday, April 11th, 2019. Shane Dobbin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia, and it's a beautiful day in downtown Bozeman. We're excited to be here with you on the AM 1450 KMMS morning Soapbox. Thanks for joining us this morning. And, we're talking about taxes being voluntary, and I did find a thing of Harry Reid, who is more than happy to explain to you why taxes are voluntary. So here's about 2 minutes of that.
Trying to argue that governmental action is not forceful, Senator Harry Reid claimed that income taxes are voluntary. If the government is in the business of forcefully taking money from some people in order to provide welfare benefits to others, how will the people whose money is being taken feel about the government?
Well, I don't accept your phraseology. I don't think we force people.
Taxation is not forceful?
Well, no.
It's voluntary?
In fact, quite to the contrary. Our system of government is a voluntary tax system.
Oh, if you don't want to pay your taxes, you don't have to?
Oh, of course you have to pay your taxes. But
well, the government will force you to pay, or they'll fine you or imprison you.
We have a voluntary system. The fact of the matter is that if when you pay your taxes, see, in many other countries it's not voluntary. For example, in many countries, the government makes sure that your employer takes out every penny. Many countries don't file income tax returns.
We have withholding here too, don't we?
Pardon me?
Withholding?
With some programs, yes. But I'm talking about in some countries, European countries as an example, you don't file an income tax return. There is no need to, because your employer takes all the money out. That's the difference between a voluntary and an involuntary system. You can't cheat and not pay your taxes. Right. But I don't accept your phraseology that you forcibly take money from somebody else and give it to that's the way it is on any program.
Can the taxpayer...
highway program is the same. We take money, we forcibly take money in your phraseology from people and build highways with it. Put people in the army.
Can the taxpayer decide not to pay his taxes if he wants?
He can not pay his taxes if he wants.
What will happen?
He's subject to civil and criminal penalties.
They'll put him in jail. They use force against him. He pays. Everybody pays taxes under threat of jail or fine, under threat of force. In other words, you are forced to pay your taxes, whether you fill out your form voluntarily or whether it's withheld.
All right, I think we get the gist of what Harry's saying there, right, Shane?
Yeah, well, he was a lifelong politician from Nevada, Democrat.
Yep.
Amazingly enough, he got into politics. He was a boxing coach before he got into politics.
Yeah, he was a boxer.
In 1970, gubernatorial election, he became lieutenant governor of Nevada, 71 to 75. Then this is great. He served on the gaming commission, the Nevada Gaming Commission, 77 to 81. 83 to 87, he was a United States Senate or House of Representative, and then in 1987 till 2017, he was a U.S. Senator. So. Wow, 45 years in government. Wow. I think he did well being head of the Nevada Gaming Commission.
There you go. We've got a caller patiently waiting, so let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
So I looked up the powwow cookbook.
Yeah, powwow chow.
And I found out that she contributed several recipes.
Oh, all right.
And she plagiarized one.
Okay.
So, that was mentioned in, was it Wikipedia? And it even gave you a link to go look at her plagiarism, which I find really funny. And she listed herself as Cherokee. So, would that be a double plagiarism because, she stole somebody else's recipe and she, listed herself with after the mosquito bite, which she is no longer a member of that tribe.
Mm. Yep.
Well, I would say she moves from Pocahontas to Pocahontas II.
I don't know, but like I said, in the article, it says that she plagiarized word for word another person's recipe, which I don't really know if that's considered plagiarism or not, because, there are a lot of people that have what they consider family recipes that came from Betty Crocker cookbooks. So,
that'd be true.
It's your recipe if you made it 5 times in your family, I guess.
Yeah.
But like I said, in the article, it says that it was, and it lists the other person who did the recipe. But in the cookbook, she lists herself as Cherokee. Mm-hmm. So she's gone from part Indian to complete Indian in this cookbook.
Yeah. So there you are. Well, thanks for the input.
All I have to do is write it down that you're this and you're that.
Okay.
So I guess that's the way America works now.
There you are.
All right. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks for the call. All right. Appreciate it. All right. We got to take a quick break. We'll be back in 3 minutes right after this. Hang on. 15 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Thursday, April 11th, 2019, 34 degrees outside. Shane Tallman on the line with me from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, and happy to have him along with us. And, well, if we look at our text line again, Shane, let's see, we got a... how can you say there's not fraud after they pay $25 million for being a fraud? So, I don't know. I guess you're a fraud. If Harry Reid truly believes that paying taxes is voluntary, then he has no business railing about Mitt Romney not paying taxes back in 2012. So there you are. Our taxes are absolutely voluntary. We choose to play the game, maximize our deductions, and get our taxes to zero or negative, or you can volunteer not to play the game and thus pay taxes. Trump plays the game well. So there you are.
Well, he pays people to do the work that they're supposed to and what they're paid for, and that's to do his taxes and find the deductions that are allowable and make sure they're recorded properly. I mean, that's what he does. Everyone does it.
I was going to say, yeah, I stopped doing my taxes a long time ago because my CPA saves me more than I try to do them myself with, like TurboTax. And, then I'll take my return into my CPA and compare the two, and he's always saving me more than something I missed or whatever. Yeah. He's got it down pat to what I should or shouldn't pay. And as I say, I normally prefer to pay. I don't want to give the government a tax-free loan for the year, so.
And I think it's policy. I guess I should go look it up, but it's consistent with anyone I've ever talked to in both our countries that it appears that both our income tax services, if they audit you 1 year, they generally audit you for 3. And then they never, it's like rotating for court duty on a jerk, I guess, right? Yeah. Every 7 years you get a, request to show up in court.
Yeah. Let's see, from our text line, 470, I'll try and do this as the texter suggests.
Okay.
From our text line, 478-892. If you keep getting skewed, or if you keep getting sued and have to pay settlements, you might be a crook. From Jeff Foxworthy. Clinton, Trump, crooks of a feather. So there you are.
So do we have time for the 4OK market?
We do.
Watch?
We've got time for it. We've got you got about 3 minutes. Go for it.
I'll use only one.
Okay.
The Dow Jones is down 9 today, 26,140. Standard & Poor's up 10. NASDAQ 100 up 42. That's positive, actually, for the NASDAQ. S&P VIX is down 0.82. Europe is, again, very reasonable considering what's going on with Brexit and the whole European economy. But the FTSE is only down 8. The DAX is up 63, and you talk about Germany. Italy's not looking good because it's just, their economy is weak like Spain's. But they're both moderately holding in there and no major shakeup. When we turn to Asia, Asia showed some interesting play, nothing major other than the Nike in Japan, which was down 115. But the Shanghai, the CS 30 in Hong Kong, and the Shanghai 50 all up, and the Kospi in South Korea was up. So looking good there. And the price of oil overnight, $64.47, trying to hit that $65 mark. Brent in Europe is 71, natural gas 275, and gasoline average in the U.S. is $2.06. Gold is moving over 1,300, 1,310. Silver is moving up marginally, $15.24. And agriculture, soybeans up 325, wheat up or down to 175. Milk and cheese are basically flat for the day, as well as orange juice and lumber. Corn and sugar, corn up 150, and sugar no viable change. Live cattle is holding in. Feeder cattle down 115. Lean hog unchanged at 79. So poultry unchanged at 472. Copper off and under $3 at 292. And of course we're watching lithium, which is down 78 cents to 115. Baltic dry 725 up $11. So it keeps moving. The 30-year note is 291 down. The 10-year U.S. note 247, and currencies well alive. They're still holding in, same as yesterday, folks. The euro's 112, the pound 130, getting stronger. I mean, it's amazing. Not the Canadian dollar. We're at 133, and that nasty scourge called China, 671. So there's your market, 401 or 401k. Jack, there we go.
Okay. Done. And it did take you almost 3 minutes to do it. So
you're right.
That's okay. That's okay, because we have a caller on hold. I've got to take a break. You need to talk to the caller. So I'll be right back after this. Here's Rush. 4 minutes before the top of the hour, Shane's been entertaining our caller on the newsmaker line. So caller, hope you enjoyed your conversation with Shane. What's going on?
Well, nobody likes paying taxes, right? I mean, but
that's true.
But what's the alternative? Do you want to pay? Do you want to get billed every time you pull out of your driveway and get on the road? I mean, do you want to just?
Yeah.
I mean, when you get a fire in your house, would you like to get a bill for it? I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's the whole thing. What do you? It's like a sales tax. We're very lucky here that we don't have that extra.
No, we don't want one of those.
No, we don't want one of those. So, so we're pretty lucky from that standpoint. So,
yep, I agree.
I always think, well, if I was living in California, I'd be adding 8% to my income tax. Here, I'm deducting 8% from it.
I lived in California for 2 years, and I actually didn't mind it. I mean, they have a lot of more services for people than we do.
Well, they do have that. That's for sure. The population there, they do provide a lot more than we do. But
I did make less money from it.
That's the whole thing. Yeah, right.
It's a trade-off,
Well, when I went to California, I figured, they'd be waiting. Employers would be waiting in line for a guy like me. What I found was there were guys like me waiting in line. So that didn't work very well.
So one point I want to make is, the government's really messed up right now because of all the influence from the big players.
Mm-hmm.
But if the government doesn't do it, you create a vacuum, and one of them corporations is going to end up having to do it, and it's going to end up costing more. I mean, I know the government wastes money like crazy, but it will cost you more. I mean, look at health insurance. That's the proof in the pudding right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know. And everybody laughs about not paying taxes, but it's kind of, if everybody just quit paying taxes, our country would probably just fall apart within weeks, I think.
Well, certainly a lot of the goods and services would have to be put on hold. That's for sure. So
is what they need to do, and I think they do this in either Finland or Norway, is they need to send you an itemized summary of where every dollar that you give them goes.
There you go.
So,
I like that.
Because then if you should be for it or not,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Norway that does that. Yeah. So somebody, you can look into it.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Yep,
thanks for listening.
Tom.
All right. Take care. All right. Real quick for our text line, we got to get out of here. Why would Republicans want to block a report that exonerates the president or taxes that show nothing damaging? Any innocent people welcome openness. When I worked for UPS, they cautioned us about sue-happy people because UPS was perceived as having deep pockets. And I have the accountant, do you? I don't know. I guess I have a accountant.
And
yeah. Say goodbye, Shade.
Goodbye, Mayor. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow, Friday, last day of the week. Be happy, be safe, everyone. Thanks for all the calls.
All right. Hey, thanks, Shane, for being here. We appreciate it. And, we will be back tomorrow. I'm not sure about Jennifer Bordy, if she's going to be here or not. They've had some family issues, so we will see if she is here or not. But if not, we will have open lines again. So thanks to everybody. Also, too, I want to mention our poll question of the day. Should rural Montana schools have armed guards? Should rural Montana schools have armed guards? And that is on our AM 1450 KMMS website or smartphone. So check it out and vote. We'll be back tomorrow, 6 a.m.